Hi, this is Carrie with Carrie Concealed in the Active Self-Protection Extra channel. And today we get to interview Mr. Chris Bean, who is an amazing instructor. And we're going to ask him the instructor insider questions. All right, Mr. Chris, tell the people a bit about yourself and how people can find you or learn more about you if they want to.
So my name's Christopher Bean. I run a small company called Tactical Advantage. I also co-direct the Active Self-Protection Instructor Certification Program with my favorite person, Carrie. I can also be found on ASP in different places on our website there, doing some on-road training with them as well. But really, if someone wanted to find me, you could check out tacticaladv.com or just the ASP website. You'll find a bio and some things like that. I'm
Perfect.
so good at self-promotion. It's a skill,
Yeah, neither of us are great at that.
right?
Somebody else, tell me a bit about yourself. I'm like, I'm a wife and a mom.
Uh,
And I have a three-legged dog. What else am I
you
supposed to
do?
say?
You have a tripod?
Yes.
Nice.
I wanted to name her tripod, but the kid said that was mean, so we went with Speedy instead.
It's
But
not mean if it's true.
I see, that's what I said too. They were really little then. This was 15 years ago, but she's still alive, so that's good. Okay, I digress. Sorry. All right, so for how long have you been an instructor?
All right, it's 2025, 26 years. So I think I got my first instructor certification in 1999.
Awesome. That's awesome. All right, what was your first gun, and what is your current favorite gun? I can't wait for the end of
Ooh.
this one.
So my first gun ever?
What the first gun you want to tell us about? How's that sound?
The first gun I ever owned was a Harrington and Richardson handy rifle in 357 Magnum, single shot break breech. Uh,
Whoa.
that is what brought me to the love of guns. And
You
just
still have it?
I do well, let me say this. I have a facsimile of it.
Okay, okay, I gotcha.
Because, and that's actually an interesting story. In my teenage years, which were quite tumultuous, I ended up kind of getting rid of it, right? And when I went to go try and find it, it was not something I could easily find.
Sure.
So I went on the hunt to get another one from H&R. H&R was not producing them. So a few years went by where I'm actually in the industry. I was doing concealed carry classes at a gun store. And one day, just out of nowhere, we got like a, hey, H&R is doing repros of this, and this for a very, very short period of time. And I was able to kind of snatch one up. And that I still own, and I will never, ever, ever get rid of it. It's
Oh,
not the most interesting firearm in the world, but it
that's
carries a
special.
lot of. I remember being very little and learning how to shoot on that gun and learning firearm safety on that gun. So it's
Wow.
not glamorous, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So, what is my favorite gun right now? So, I guess honestly, for the past little while, I am trying to learn how to fall in love with the HKVP9.
Okay,
So
fair.
that's kind of been my kind of workhorse for a while, and I'll tell people why, right? So, I am the breaker of all things firearms. Like
Yes, you are.
you give me a gun, I'm gonna break it, and I'm gonna break it soon.
Well,
So the one thing that I found is the HK, I haven't been able to break it. It's just a robust gun, right? So there's some things that I don't love about it, right? But when I start weighing it objectively, I'm like, but it actually does what I need it to do every time. So maybe I need to adjust a little bit of me instead of adjusting all of the other things, right? So, with that said, I'm very, very, very excited about the new variant of the VP9. I think it's the A1 that they
yeah.
call it, because some of the things that I found uh, not bad, but troublesome for me have been addressed,
Yeah.
and that's going to be interesting for me to kind of try and sort out. But I just need things I can't break. And everyone out there is like, yeah, sure. Trust me, the brain
Trust
that you
him.
think is unbreakable, I
Trust him.
broke them.
More than one.
I'll have more than one in a day. Like, I
That's
just don't know if
true.
it's bad luck or if it's, who knows, man.
Well, and it's not like you're doing anything bad. I mean, you're doing normal things, and
Yeah,
it's just no work anymore.
yeah. I think what happens more often than not, though, is, oh, gosh, I don't want this to sound bad, but I'm not a regular user.
Yeah.
Like, I I use them hard.
You
Uh,
consume them. Currently, what are you enjoying most about teaching? Or which classes or topics are you enjoying most?
I guess to not sound self-serving, but the thing I enjoy most about teaching is helping people break through things that they did not know were possible. And I don't just mean like, okay, they've made a little incremental improvement. I mean PRs, like
Yeah.
PRs. Because just watching that happen for somebody and watching that initial spark roll into PR after PR after PR, um, that's just incredibly entertaining to me. I could watch it and be involved in that all day. In part two, what was part two of the question?
I think that so what's one no, sorry. What are you most enjoying most about teaching currently, or what classes or topics are you enjoying most?
In the topic where obviously the topic that I'm most engaged in right now is, the mental side of performance. Those things are interesting. I think really not talked about all that much. I mean, so much of kind of what the vocation does is talk about, well, if you put your thumbs here,
Yeah.
this will fix the problem. Or if you do 9,000 repetitions, that will fix the problem. And it creates such a hamster wheel for people that they never really progress. And the sad part about that is they don't question it.
Right. They just keep doing it. Or if you get this
Yeah,
done, or get this dot, or get this holster.
yeah, it's gonna fix it, which maybe it will. You might be the exception,
True. That is true.
but more often than not, it's just confounding, and I know what that feels like because I was in that spot for a long time. So um, just kind of learning to think through how are we impacting what's really happening, and do we even know we're doing that? And if we are, how can we change it?
When you were in that confounding spot, what helped you break through?
I think really what helped me kind of snap out of it is I saw someone perform at a level that I did not deem for myself to be a possibility.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know nor understand how that is even
Possible.
possible.
Yeah.
And that kind of just lit a spark to go, well, what attributes do they have that are different than what I have?
Oh,
What special power does this person have that allows them to do that I couldn't? And after I kind of do the value proposition on all of those things, I'm like, there is nothing different. So we're boiled down to a couple things. One would be the want to put in the work to do that. That's
oh,
one. And two, the tenacity to not give up until
mm,
I do. And if I reach a hurdle, figure out what is the root cause of said hurdle and figure out like a workaround.
yeah.
Um, so in that, and I'll tell people the person as an instructor, it was kind of both a shooter and an instructor that did
Okay.
that, was Gabe White.
Okay. I was going to ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was Gabe, and I will to the till
So,
the day
yeah.
I stop doing this, give him the attributes that he deserved
Yeah.
or deserves because he made a huge impact
Mm,
on me realizing that there was more.
yeah. I appreciate his thinking, his willingness to think through things so thoroughly and to think outside the box about things, not for the sake of doing it, but because what's currently happening isn't best or optimal or efficient. And so he's willing to put in the time and effort to think through and to experiment with things. And I mean, that involves risk, right? And a lot of people don't want to do that. But the fact that he's willing to and put himself out there and share what he's learned, I appreciate that man so much. So much.
Yeah, I do too. He's had a huge impact. And I don't even know that I've told him how big the impact is, but it was big, right? And it made a difference in what I believe to be true in my own personal pursuit of skill,
Yeah.
and my own personal pursuit in better translating skill to other people.
Mm,
So,
yeah. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. He's a good guy. Okay, what's one helpful hint you can share with instructors just starting out?
oh, be yourself.
Oh, that's good.
Stop trying to be someone else because that someone else is already out there. I think from an instructor standpoint, especially one that may not be confident, right? Confident in who they are or what real estate they own, don't be afraid to be yourself because your individual ability to perceive and explain things is what people need.
Yes. Yes.
If if they didn't, there would be no one else jumping into this craft.
Yeah.
So just do that. Stop trying to be someone else. It doesn't pay. It
Yeah.
just doesn't.
And it doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help your students. It doesn't help you. Yeah. Well said. Well said. What's the best piece of firearm or protection related advice that you've received?
Hmm. Let me see. Probably not firearm related and probably a quip that everyone's heard because it's pretty cliche, but there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Hmm.
So
No one has said that, by the way. I'm just letting you know, no other instructor I've interviewed has said that. So it may be cliche, but it's not being said in this space.
yeah, there's multiple ways to approach things and just because you think you know the right answer doesn't mean that that's the answer.
Mm.
Don't be afraid to think of different ways, approach things differently. Uh, listen to people.
Yeah, so good. So good. This just always confirms, every time I get to talk to you, it confirms that's why I like working with Mr. Chris so much. Okay, if you could train with anyone living or dead, who would it be?
John Browning.
Oh, that's good.
So why I would do that is
Yeah.
because I'm fascinated with firearms, not just the application of skill, but I'm fascinated with the engineering of firearms. John Browning, probably around 13 years old, had already designed and assembled his first gun, holder of 138 patents. I think I might be off by one or two there. So how cool would it be just to talk to him about how his with no hold on with no formal engineering
Right?
education or anything like
Right.
that, just the ability to visualize and create. Oh, how interesting would it be to kind of talk through that with somebody? um I would that would just be fascinating for me, fascinating.
Have you been to the Browning Museum or to the
I
National
have
Museum in Cody?
not.
Oh,
I
you
have
gotta do that,
not.
Mr. Chris. I'm telling you. Anyway, we can talk about that later, but yeah, I know a couple people that have gone and they've said that it's just phenomenal what they've done. They've done a really good job there.
Yeah, if I had to choose just for funsies, because I will
Yeah,
not be governed, if I had to
right.
choose someone that had nothing to do with firearms, it'd probably be Nikola Tesla.
Okay.
Just to kind of be able to sit down and talk through. I'm a fan of abstract thinking
Hmm.
and the ability to take abstract thought or relational ideas and apply them to different things. That would be another. I would just give a kidney to be a fly on the for some of those kind of conversations just to hear.
I love it. Give a kidney, but not a liver. The other
No,
day,
yeah,
did I
I
give my
mean,
liver to do that? Be like, oh, honey, if you did, you wouldn't be alive, baby. You
yeah,
can't give
it's like a 2-to-1 kind of thing. I mean, you gotta hedge your bets, right?
us. All right, two more questions. If you could AI for anyone living or dead, who would it be?
Oof, oof. Okay, doesn't have to be
Can be
tied
anything.
to the firearms, to Albert Einstein, all day, every day.
Ooh,
All day, every day, just to kind of watch someone work. That and let me go back into all of this stuff kind of melts together, right? Like taking someone that's an abstract thinker and see how they truly teach or discern the information to people that may not understand where they're coming from. That would be super interesting for me because like learning how to deal with abstract thought and kind of hand abstract thought to people so it's I don't want to say easy to absorb because that makes it
pure.
say like, well, they're not capable of absorbing, but more readily absorbed.
Yes. I know exactly what you mean. And more fun too, more desirable. So they'll want to understand those things. And yeah, no, that's
I,
for
I'm I'm so like not probably falling into like the cookie mold for like firearms instructors.
but that's good. That's what makes you so awesome, though. One of the many things that does. This last question is from Mr. Neal. Actually, the last one was too, if you could AI for anyone. And he also came up with one. What's your favorite drill to teach or to shoot?
Uh, so there's two, right? One to teach, one to shoot. My favorite drill to shoot all day, every day, no matter what, is the bill drill. I
Eh,
don't know why. I just love doing bill drills um, because I think there's such a huge amount of data
Yeah.
into what is or is not possible for the varying kind of aspects of that from concealed or open, all of these things. And I kind of like pushing those boundaries on what's possible. And if it is indeed possible or someone else can do it, why can't I? So it gives me, and it's quick and short and low round count. So from teaching, it's not so much as a drill as it is an exercise. It's kind of the stuff I do with transitions for people, like teaching them how to kind of understand what people mean when they say eyes then gun,
Mhm.
and kind of put some context to it, and then kind of learn to kind of test that and understand how you can recognize when you are or are not doing that and what
Mhm.
the
Yes.
impact is on target.
Yes.
And the reason I kind of like that one so much is because you get a whole bunch of ahas when we've taught that, and that's super fun because you know that an idea has now seeded itself.
And they're not
And
going to forget it either.
oh, and once that happens, you're like, oh, yay,
And
we
once they
got it.
get it, they get it and they see it and it's theirs then. And they don't,
Exactly right.
which is
Then it
so
becomes
awesome.
theirs. It is not mine. It's yours.
Yeah. What I think, so for anybody that wants to learn more about that, there are videos on the Extra channel of Mr. Chris teaching transitions. And I know that one of the classes was filmed for the full class was filmed for the app. So this year, the Girl in a
Did
Gun,
not know that.
yeah. So good stuff out there. So if you want to learn how he does that, and it's unique and different, but man, does it get the job done and efficiently, and the students own it. Well, thank you for your time today, Mr. Chris. I really appreciate it. Thanks for answering our instructor insider questions. And we look forward to, we'll see you on the channel. See, that's a good thing. We're not saying goodbye. We're just saying see you later because they get to see
Yeah,
you every week on the channel.
yeah. Well,
Good
I
stuff.
appreciate it, Carrie. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk. So
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We'll see you next week.